that's beautiful in the world, and that's what we're going to do today. We're going to make a cute little hedgehog. It's a good exercise in focusing our mind, focusing our heart on something beautiful and cute, learning a skill, and kind of trying to get into that flow, the flow state, so that we're allowing our other parts of our brain to just really relax and think and listen. Anyway, good to see you, good to meet you, good to interact, and we're going to make this cute little hedgehog today. So let's get started. If you look in the comments of this video, or also there's an album in the photos on my Facebook page there. It has all of the templates for all the videos, so you can do these videos anytime. Glad to be here together with you on the live, but if you aren't able to do it right at this very moment, they're all in the photo album called templates. You can just download those, take a picture, take that picture and put it into your copier and get it onto your watercolor paper. If you don't have that capability, you can use graphite paper, or you can put it up against a window and trace it that way. So I'm going to assume that you have that template already made, and then we're going to start painting. Okay, so let's look at the painting real quick. It's a cute little hedgehog. He looks like he's reaching out to grab something or something. So you can notice that the template's very simple little outline. And really, truly, we're going to just use about 3 colors. That's it. And I'm going to use my trusty white paint pen for some of the little reflections in the eye and the nose. But if you have this kind of watercolors, that's great. Any kind of watercolor will do, but I'm going to use kind of a teal color, kind of a lightish blue color for his body, and then 2 colors of brown for his little spiky back and his ears and his nose. Okay, so 2 colors of brown and this teal color. So maybe a reddish brown and maybe a darker brown, and then some black for his eye and his nose. Okay, so that's really, truly, it's it. So if you have this kind, go for it. If you want to make him different colors, go for it. You can make him any color you want. Okay, so you're going to want a medium-sized brush. I'm going to use my number 4 today, and you'll need some water. My water is not very clean. I just realized I was painting tomorrow's painting. I got it. Didn't change the water out. That's always an issue. Okay, so let's start. We're going to start by looking at this painting. We're going to give this a real watery feel to it. So we're going to wet the paper for this part. And on this part, we're going to use kind of stippling motion with our brushes. You can see the little pokey uppies there. That's just the tips of my brush, just one after the other. We'll put one layer of the darker brown, and then we'll put the lighter brown. I'm going to let it get lighter as it gets down here, so I'll put more dark up here and then lighter as it goes. Same dark brown for his ear and on the top of his nose, and then we'll bring some of that color into this wet part. Okay, so first thing we're going to do is put a layer of water here and paint it, drop some paint in there. Okay, so let's start. We got our water, and we're going to just paint with our water all over this area here. Okay, this is a real simple little painting. It's not going to be super complicated, but when we do simple ones, it gives you some room to kind of do your own thing too. So feel free to just let your imagination take you where it wants to go. Okay, so we're painting with water. Okay, so I've got this whole area covered with water, and I'm going to go in with this kind of teal color, and I'm going to drop the color in to the water. So I'm going to let it be real flowy. Just kind of let it flow around. Kind of go along the outside edge, kind of like our dragonfly maybe, or one of the birds we did. We dropped color along the edges and it kind of gives that cool line effect. Okay, all up in here as well. And we're going to blend these colors with the brown, so we're just laying that teal in, and then once we get the brown, it'll kind of meld together. Just to let it flow around. Okay, that will get lighter as it dries. I'm having some pooling in spots where the water kind of got a little dimpled from the water, so I'm soaking some of it up so it's not as intense in some places. Okay, we've got our little layer of teal in there. Okay, now this part we aren't going to get wet because we want to have those little shapes for his quills, I guess. Are they quills? Little pokey fur. So I'm going to go in with some brown. And I'm going to start using little motions like this. Just going just over that line so that the line is not seen after it gets all painted. And we want them to stick out from his body. So as you go down, we're going to turn our brush to make sure it's pointing outside his body. We don't want them all lined up this way. The fur comes out from his body. So we're going to point our brush outward like that. And continuing. More technical difficulties?
Yeah, just continue like 20 to 30 seconds behind what you're talking about.
Oh no, that's weird.
And also maybe this isn't very.
Oh, sorry guys. So many complications. Mm-hmm. Oh. So our sound and our video are off from each other. Sorry about that, guys. Hopefully you can follow. We will get this straight. I don't know what's been happening. We've been having technical difficulties every time lately. All right. So we've got a layer of the darker brown. Now, since I have that dark brown on my brush, I'm going to go in and do his ear with that darker brown. I'm going to go along the edge of his ear, and then I'm going to use water only to fill the ear in. And I'm going to let it meld in with that blue color that we put in. Okay. So we want that to just kind of be a nice, easy flow from the ear to that green. Okay. Now I still have that dark brown on my brush. I'm going to go in on the top of his nose here. I need more water on my brush. On the top of his nose and put some brown there. And as I come down, I want it to get lighter and lighter. So I'm just going to add water and pull that brown down. And by the time I get down here, I want it to be quite light. I'm going to allow that to meld in with the blue. Just a light tan color. Yeah. So darker on the top of the snout and lighter as it gets down farther. Okay. And this part kind of gets a little bit of that brown. And let it kind of blend in with that blue. Okay. All right. I'm going to put a little bit more of that dark brown down here, but kind of interspersed, because I'm going to have it get lighter as it gets down farther. I want that top of his nose to be pretty dark. Go back in. Let's let it get lighter. Okay. So now it's time for that other lighter brown. Okay, I have kind of an orange brown. You can use whatever color you want, but mine is kind of a ochre kind of color. I'm going to go in on top of this brown. I want it to go all the way to his ear and kind of fill in those gaps, fill in the white gaps. Still figuring it out. There's all kinds of conversations going on in this room, and I'm trying to focus. So hopefully I'm making it any sense. Just keep on keeping on. That's what you got to do sometimes, right? Maybe we need to change the format to what we're doing here. I don't know. We'll have to think it through a little bit. Okay, so continuing on with that orangish brown color, I'm going to bring it up in the darker, and then as I come down here, I'm going to make them more and more close together so that really the orange brown is the only thing down in the bottom part. And my brush is continuing to face outward, so the quills or the pokey fur goes out from there. Now, as I get down in here, I thought it was kind of fun to add some water so that it kind of really pools and makes some fun shapes with the water. You can choose to do that or not, it doesn't matter. You can make it just these quill shapes, either way. And down here, because this is just going to be one color, I'm going to allow some of the white to show through. He's cute. Now, on this little edge here, in my opinion, it looks better if they kind of mush together. We don't want to have a stark line. If you want to have a stark line, you can. But I'm going to add some waters and a little bit of that green paint so that we can just kind of have a mushy, flowy line in there. So I'm going to add some green to the brown area and add water so that they just kind of meld together right there. Yeah, something like that. There's a big hole right there that the water's trying to pool in, soak it up a bit. Some of my blue went away up here. I'm going to add that there. Hey, he looks like a zombie again. They all look like zombie animals until we put their eyes on, don't they? This is a very simple little painting, so feel free to just mess around till it feels right. I'm going to use that orange brown on his snout a little bit underneath his brown, dark brown nose, so he kind of all matches. I'm going to leave it above his mouth so that this lower part has a little differentiation. I'm going to let it flow up to that blue. Hope you all are having a good week. Here in Texas, we're supposedly open. I don't know. Not a whole lot has changed, which is personally I'm glad about. I think we need to be, smart about gradually opening. So we've had a couple friends over, which is nice. Other than that, it's kind of all pretty normal. Pretty normal COVID style anyway. Okay, so pretty much that's it. The last thing we need to do is add black to the nose and the eye, and then little brown feet and hands. We're gonna wait for the hands because it's still pretty wet right here. We don't want them to disperse. That brown is gonna disperse pretty easily. But what we can do, the eyes and the nose. So those are black. If you have a white paint pen, you can make the whole circles black and then add the little reflection. See the reflection areas with the white paint pen. And if you don't have those, that paint pen, be very careful about putting the black in and add a little bit of, leave a little bit of white in a little spot on both the nose and the eye. That way you can show the reflection that way. Okay, so I'm going to go in with my black. If you want to use a smaller brush, you can, so that it's easy to be precise. If you have a watercolor brush, they have nice pointy tips, so you'll be able to get in there nice and close to the line there. And just fill that in. Little black nose. And a little black eye. Okay. You could also, instead of using your watercolor for these, you could use a Sharpie or a black pen, black marker, if you wanted to have more control. Okay. So while we're waiting for those to dry and for his body to dry so we can do the rest of those little details, now's the time in the painting to look at it and think, okay, is there anything I need to do? Anything I want to make a little stronger, a little more defined, a little darker, a little lighter even if you wanted to go in with some water. So I'm thinking maybe I would like to make this ear a little darker. Maybe blend this a little bit more. If you wanted more color on his body, you want to make more clear delineation between his body and his quills, just think about what do you think this use your critical eye and use your instincts, trust what you're feeling, and think, what do you think, what needs to happen now? A lot of times we don't listen to those parts of us that were clearly made for creation, and we just ignore them. We don't think we would know. We should know. But truly, you can trust when you're making something that you have an instinct about it. You have a feeling about it. And go. Trust that. Trust your creative sense. Everybody's just going to look a little different. Okay. Tonight we're going to have our meeting on Zoom. We're doing a book club on The Artist's Way, a book by Julia Cameron that has changed my life. It's been a very good book for me. Talking through has a lot of exercises and tasks to do to really connect with who I am, who I'm made to be, and trusting the creative process, creativeness that's already in me, and then allowing it to come out. All of us have that, right? All of us have this creativity in us, and it gets kind of clouded, I think, a lot of times, taught out of us a little bit. There's a right and a wrong way to do things, and sometimes there are right and wrongs, obviously, but when it comes to creativity and making things, it's very subjective, right? So training our brains to ignore some of those critical thoughts when it comes to what we're creating and allowing it to come out. That's what we're going to be talking about this week. Last week, we're just on chapter 2, so if you want to join us, you can sign up on Patreon, patreon.com. I think there's a link there. Yeah, good conversation over Zoom. So you're welcome to join us. I'm excited to talk with the ladies. All right. So let's do the little feet and hands, okay? I'm using my orangish brown color, and I'm just going to do some loose little movements with my brush to make his feet. Now, if you want to be more precise about it, go for it. I'm just making some toes, just some loose little toes, and I'm going to make some loose little hands, kind of reaching out. And that's it. Ooh, we're getting a little shaky here. Yeah. We haven't had any earthquakes, just foot kicking the lights. Okay. All right, so we've got feet and hands. That's easy peasy. Now the only thing we need to do is use our white paint pen and put some reflections in the eyes and a little on the nose. He's got a little wet nose. And maybe along, if you so desire, you can put a little bit of white on his mouth. Maybe there would be a little bit of a reflection there. Other than that, that's it. Maybe you want to put some spikes here. I don't know. Isn't he just the cutest thing ever? There's actually something called a hedgehog in the world. It's amazing. Cute. Well, I've enjoyed being with you today. Sorry for the technical difficulties. We're working it out. I have been working on several paintings. One for tomorrow is tulips. We were going to do tulips a while ago, and we did an Easter lily instead. But I have a tulip on the way for tomorrow. And until then, I pray peace and grace and wholeness will be in your homes all tonight, and I'll see you tomorrow.